Hey guys, how's it going? So today is my first time doing off-grid system for my house. So basically what I have here is 3 solar panel system for in-ground, and they're all 12 kilowatt system. I got 690 watts panel each bifacial, and I got them installed in 22 in one system. Basically it's 10 and then 6 and 6, so total of 3 strings. As you can see, I got one here, second here, and a third one in the back. Of course, it's not that much sunny yet, but it is still producing enough power to not only run my house but also run and charge my batteries, because as I say, this is the off-grid system. And then I got here's the bifacial panels, and then here's the disconnect for each and individual one. Then also, just in case if I don't have the grid, because I'm going completely off grid, and then if I don't have any sun for so many days, I got the Briggs & Stratton 18 kW generator installed over here with the 2-wire start. There is another video how to configure this, but basically I have my generator right here, okay, and then this is my breaker panel right here. I got a 80 amp breaker with the main disconnect, and then I got I'll take it back, it's a 100 amp breaker with 30, 30 and 30 for each individual inverter. And then that thing goes into my house through that box. So basically this is the setup for the outside, and then here's the 3 system that I got right here. Now we're gonna go inside. So now we're inside. As you can see, I got 1, 2, 3 solar panel inverter, and then each one of them is connected with 4 batteries. These are Eg4 in-house battery. Now this is the indoor, not the outdoor. I kept these things open so you can see how I got them connected. They're parallel. They're very easy to understand on the Eg4 manual. The battery comm. One thing you do need to make sure, the dip switch is right here. So each dip switch you can configure, and then just let the inverter know which one is the first battery to drain, and the second and third and fourth and so forth, so that way it would drain equally instead of draining it one completely and then the second and stuff like that. So this one is my number 1 battery. And then also one thing, you don't want to do 1, 2, 3 and 4. The way the Eg4 has is basically you do, so let's say an example in this one, you got them all 4 lined up right here. So this is not my first battery. This is my first battery. This is the main battery. Then 2 goes there. Then a 3 goes there. Then a 4 goes at the very end over there. So you want to make sure that you do it that way. And on the dip switches, here's I got it. So number 1, the main battery, the number 1 dip switch needs to be down. All the other one needs to be up. Then the number 2 is only number 2 dip switch needs to be down. All the other one needs to be up. Then again, you go to number 3, which has 1 and 2 dip switches down. And then number 4 has only 3rd number dip switches down. All the other ones are on. That's how the inverter know which one to drain and how much to drain and all that stuff, okay? Then you got 2 main power coming in, which is right here from the battery. 2 red and 2 black goes into the bus bar. Right here is the disconnect. Then you got this cable that goes to the battery. Then you got this parallel. Now the parallel is the tricky, because you plug in, this is my number 1, then this is my number 2 and number 3. So this parallel needs to go from 1 to the 2nd, then a 3rd. But then again, the other cable that needs to go from 1st all the way to the 3rd one. So basically, in each individual inverter, so you go from 1 to the 2, and then from 2 to the 3, and then from, again, 3 to the 4, you come back right here, and that's how you want to finish the loop. And then this battery comm goes into the battery comm, and from here, you go to the green cable, which is right here. So that orange one goes into this can one right here. I don't have that open, otherwise I would show it to you. But the orange cable goes in here from the inverter to the battery. And then all the other battery, the other three, you just take one green and then connect it and so on and so forth. So that's how it connects to these COM one right here. Then this one, the COM1 and NO1. Basically, this thing is a 2-wire start, which is a normally open circuit. So whenever the inverter tells the generator to fire up, these two will close it inside. And it took forever for me to figure out how to do that on an Eg4, and there is not a lot of videos about that. And also the Eg4, the Signature Solar sells this Briggs & Stratton generator, which they don't have a tech support. That's another problem. So then, you know, apparently I was able to figure it out with a lot of research and call a couple of my buddies, and then we found out how to do that, which I'll have a posted video on a link over here in the bottom when I'm done with it. But anyway, so we move on. So then this is your normal load. You really only need about 60 amp breaker in here, but I have ran 100 amp breaker cables over here. These cables are 2-aught, and the reason why, not 2-aught, 2-gauge cable, the reason why I did that is because I wanted to overload it for 100 amp. So I did that. Actually, I'll take it back. If they are 2-aught cable, my mistake. But anyways, you can go lower if you need to, but I just went higher just to be on a safety side. And the reason is that in case if you're going to have a bypass grid, if you got something connected in here, then you need that higher gauge cable. Otherwise, you can get by with 60 amp breaker and probably a 4-gauge cable or something like that. But like I said, I'm not an electrician. I did all this thing, you know, I researched it, and I don't know top of my head that much. But if you have any questions, you can email me or comment here and I can reply to that. But anyway, so you got these two cables going to that. This is your smart load. What this smart load does is you can figure it out and say, hey, listen, you know, I want to charge my batteries, and then I want to charge, if you have excess power, you want to charge through this, your EV or AC or whatever. But, you know, when there's not enough power, I don't want to drain my batteries. So then this will automatically stop at a 90% of your battery. So that way it will only charge if you have excess solar. If you don't have excess solar, it will not work. And that thing is a 63 amp breaker right there. Then I got my generator port in here. You can gauge it according to what you need, but I only gauged it for 30 amp, and you can limit that into the app on an Eg4. And what it does is it only allows 30 amp worth of power in there. And, you know, I got my 18 kW generator outside. So basically it shares the power into each individual at the same power. You know, it's not only gonna run to this, it's gonna run to all three of them, 1, 2, and 3. Now another thing is I made a mistake. I only hooked up 2 of them, and my third inverter was not hooked up to this generator port, and that generator would not work. And it took me 4 days to figure out why it was not working. Well, it came to find out I have to hook up all 3 of them because I got these things in parallel. So apparently they talk to each other. So if you only hook up 2 or 1 and you miss one of them, it's not gonna work. Then I got my PV input in here. These two has 6 panels each in there, so that's 12 panels here. And this one has the 10 panels in here. So you can, you know, of course, you can go ahead and figure out how you want those videos for, not videos, I mean the cables and power according to your solar panels. Then you got a disconnect over here and all that basic stuff. So I'm not gonna go over all that detail, but so now here's how this system works. So I got this much power producing from the solar array. It comes in here, and then it goes, the excess power goes to the battery. So how you know, it's switching back and forward because it's kind of cloudy outside. So this is my power going into my grid, and this is excess power going out to the battery. So you see how it's fluctuating because it's cloudy outside. So it's depends on how much power you're generating. It's right now, we're in the Midwest, and it's only 9:30 in the morning. We don't have that much sun out yet in a fall time. But you see this one has a lot of power going out, and this, and then we got the third one. And this one barely has any power producing right now. So, you know, apparently I'm using a lot right now in the house, but it will charge probably all my batteries, probably like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or like that. So all those three inverter comes into my main breaker panel. Right now I am disconnected from the grid, but then there's 1, 2, and 3 are the inverter that they're on. They're all, like I said, I have it at 100 amp, but you really don't need it. You can get by with 60 or 80 amp depending on how much you're utilizing it. But that's what I have right now. And these is all my home 200 amp breaker and my garage 100 amp breaker. And then, like I said, these three are completely, you know, normal, feeding my entire house with it. So like I said, you know, I got a lot of stuff running over here, from a water heater to gas to the furnace, and all these things are gas heater, but first it has a heat pump in here and then it goes back to the gas for the backup heat. So of course we don't need it right now, but that's what that is right now. So it is pretty cool how I was able to get my entire house hooked up with the solar panels and the batteries and everything. And the reason why we had to do that is because my electric bill was going out of hand, because we have a center point over here in Indiana, and then they have a monopoly, and they just pretty much raise their rates from 11 cents a kilowatt from 2013 to 17 cents a kilowatt in 2024, and then right now in 2025 it is 24 kilowatts. So it was just too much, so I just kicked them out completely, and I don't have any electric bill now on. So if you have any questions, you just let me know and I can, you know, answer you in the comments. Thank you.